Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm surprised and delighted and feeling slightly nervous about this one. It's called Reciprocals. It is by Kaktuslav, who's one of my favourite constructors. And this one has been recommended to us recently, actually, in light of a recent Kaktuslav puzzle we did, where people said, "Oh, but you haven't done this Kaktuslav puzzle," which I think is an older Kaktuslav puzzle. You can see it's Fog of War, so I have no idea why we didn't do it at the time. I absolutely love Fog of War puzzles. Anyway, Mark has suggested I do this today. I think he's done this deliberately because it's baking hot. It's like 35 degrees outside, which, I mean, if you're British, that's just a completely absurd temperature. And this has one of the most terrifying rule sets I can remember reading. This is a yin-yang puzzle, but it's got fractions in it. I don't know how I'm going to get on with this. We'll read the rules together in a moment or two's time, but I really would rather this didn't sort of take 2 or 3 hours to solve, because by the end of that, I will have melted. Anyway, let's read the rules of this one in a moment or two together. What else can I tell you about before we kick off and we do battle with reciprocals? I did remember today to release this wonderful puzzle on the channel. There it is. GCHQ's Puzzle of the Year from their Christmas Quiz 2025. All you've got to do to solve it is to grade this question with a K. That's all you have to do. I can tell you that doing just that mere thing took me over 2 hours. And if you want to see my battle with GCHQ's Puzzle of the Year, it's now on the main channel. We released it this morning. It's been over on Patreon for a while. I do recommend. I definitely recommend having a go at it. You'll have a blast with it. See if you can beat my time. And it's by GCHQ's chief puzzle maker, Colin. I do not know if Colin is Colin's real name. There weren't enough exclamation marks in that. Anyway, it is a wonderful puzzle, and I commend it to you. Other news over on Patreon. Shall we see how our monthly competition is going? So this, of course, is The Pet Detectives by Sandra and Nala, and by Panthera. Loads of you have been solving this. Let's see where we're up to now. Well over 1,500 solves of puzzle number 1. And getting on towards 500 solves. 455 people have solved all the puzzles. It's brilliant. Very well done to you all. The prize, as always in recent times, is the chance to come onto the channel and to solve a puzzle and appear in a video, as Mark did, Mark Skosic earlier this week. So there was a bonus viewer solve on Monday. So I hope you caught that video and enjoyed it. So that's live until the 20th over on Patreon. Now, birthdays. Let me look at my list of birthdays. Aunt Martha, your niece Kim wrote to me. I think you're over in California. I think you're both over in California, although it wasn't entirely clear from Kim's email. Kim says you're her favourite aunt, and that's partly down to the fact that in 2020 you recommended Cracking the Cryptic to her. So you're one of my favourite aunts as well, Aunt Martha. I hope you have a brilliant birthday today. I hope you get some very heavily iced chocolate cake. Next birthday for today is Dawn. Dawn, you've turned 34. I know this because I had a wonderful email from your husband, Chris. And actually, I'm going to read some of that email out because it amused me no end. So Chris said I could share this, a fun little anecdote. Chris writes that last year Dawn had to have surgery where she'd be put under. We had time to kill in the waiting room, so we pulled up a Sudoku on my phone to take her mind off things. Unfortunately, she got called back before we could finish it. When the procedure was over, I was brought back, and it was clear that she was still very much under the effects of the anaesthesia. Even still, she asked me with a groggy sort of urgency if I'd finished the Sudoku. I told her I had, to which she relaxed and responded blearily, "Good. It's important to help Simon." So, Dawn, I need to thank you for all the help that you've given me over the years. I really do appreciate it. And Chris, I did appreciate the anecdote as well. So thank you for sharing that with me. It made me laugh. Last birthday, last but certainly not least, well, 2 birthdays really, but Mila, you've turned 2 today, and apparently you watched the channel with your mum Caitlin and your brother Theo, who both of them wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. I think Theo is your big brother, maybe 4 years old. And unbelievably, your mum Caitlin, it's her birthday today as well, and she's turning 30. Gosh, that's going to be a house full of cake. Caitlin, I think, listens to the channel sometimes when she's going to sleep, and she believes it has the same effect as when she was younger and she used to sleep with a textbook under her pillow, because she hoped that some of the contents of the textbook would sort of seep through the pillow into her mind overnight, which she claims worked. Anyway, funfetti cake apparently is going to be the order of the day in the double birthday household. But Mila, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, many happy returns on your 2nd birthday, and I hope that you enjoy that funfetti cake. And that's all the news. Should we have a look at these mad rules to reciprocals by the great Kaktuslav? And you'll see why I'm slightly terrified of this puzzle. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Now this I'm quite comfortable with. We've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Yin-yang. Shade some cells in the grid so that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected. All unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 region is entirely shaded or entirely unshaded. So this I also am comfortable with. So this would be an example of some possible shading. Let's have a go at this. There we go. Now, why is this correct shading? Well, the reason it's correct shading is if we double click on the purples, you can see you can trace through the entire purple shape by moving through other purples that share an edge with each other. So what we don't have is anything like this, where this purple cell only touches its purple friends at a vertex diagonally. That's not an orthogonal connection, so that wouldn't work. But these purples are perfect. The greens are also perfect, and no 2x2 area of the grid is entirely one colour. So this is a completely legitimate yin-yang shading. And I'm relatively comfortable with yin-yang rules. However, let me read you the next rule. Every shaded cell containing digit x has value 1 over x. Every unshaded cell has a value equal to its digit. So imagine if you had an 8 in the grid. If it was unshaded, its value would be 8. If it was shaded, its value would be an 1/8. Now, they are very different things. Product sum cages. Each cage has a corner mark in its leftmost cell of its top row, identifying its type. If it shows a sigma equals x, so that one sigma equals 1, the values in the cage sum to x. If it shows pi equals x, the values in the cage multiply to x. X is not necessarily an integer. I mean, this is terrifying. So there could be a cage under the fog here that sort of has a product of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example, 5 over 32 or something. I don't know. That might be possible. Digits or values may repeat within a cage, so we don't have normal rules regarding cages. And then the only other rule is dynamic fog of war. So the grid is partially covered in fog. Placing correct digits reveals their own cell and may also lift fog elsewhere in the grid. No guessing is required. What a rule set that is. Anyway, let's hope I'm good at fractions. I don't feel like I'm good at fractions. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. So, I presume I have to start here, do I? Where, what is this saying? The sum of those 3 digits is equal to 1. Which is very strange already. Okay, so that these all have to be fractions, don't they? Because if any of those took their real value, it would add up to more than 1, because even the digit 1, if it took its normal value, it would have a value of 1. And then you would be even if you added fractions to that, you would get more than 1. So all of those have to be fractions. Now, what colour was that? What colour did I have to make them if they're fractions? Shaded. Shaded cells. So these are all shaded. So we have to decide what colour shall I use today? Green. I like using green and purple when I do yin-yang. Okay, I'll do green. Okay, so green is going to be our shaded colour. All these are shaded. Now, let's have a quick look there as well. That's the same, isn't it? Although I don't know how long this is. It's going there. But all those are green as well. It's exactly the same. It's impossible to have any purple cells in this cage. Because if you had a purple cell, its minimum value would be 1. And that would take the cage too high. Now, there has to be some purple in here because we can't have 2x2s of green. So if that was green, these would both be purple. Oh, I mean, maybe I haven't even thought to do this because I'm so terrified by the maths. But maybe we should just have a quick moment and talk about some secrets of yin-yang. Because there are secrets of yin-yang. What we're not going to find in this puzzle is that we're not going to get that shape in any 2x2. There's no checkerboarding. And the reason for that is this requirement that the greens have to orthogonally connect and the purples have to orthogonally connect. So think about how we might orthogonally connect these purples together. And even if we went on a very circuitous route and did that, can you see these greens now can't orthogonally connect? Because this green's sort of in a puddle of purple. Fate worse than death for it. So you can't have a checkerboard in any 2x2. Now, that leads to some more considerations about the perimeters of yin-yangs. You can absolutely have one colour in the perimeter. That's fine. You can have a second colour in the perimeter. That's fine. But you cannot make it more complicated than this. Because if you were to introduce another change of colour in the perimeter, so we've sort of had purple, it's changed to green, it's gone back to purple again. Let's say we tried again to introduce some more green at the bottom. Then you can view the perimeter now as sort of an exploded checkerboard. We know there's a requirement to attach this green to this green somehow. And however we do that, we're going to wall off the purple on the left from the purple on the right. So it won't work. So the perimeter of yin-yangs is normally where you start these yin-yang puzzles. But I mean, it's a bit weird here because we can't actually see the perimeter. I know some of those are purple. I don't actually know. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we do here. It's probably think about this cage, isn't it? I mean, I don't even know what these are summing to, although I do know there's some purple in them. So three fractions. So none of those digits is a 1. Yeah, okay. So where's 1 in the box? I don't know, but it's in one of those cells, isn't it? Because if 1 was in these, even as in fact, whether 1 is green or purple, whether it's 1 over 1 or it's just 1, its value is always 1. So 1 is like a digit that Kaktuslav will be able to put into either colour, and it won't affect maths. So hang on. So that Right, so the largest value of a fraction that you can create is a half, isn't it? So 2 is like the biggest digit if it's fractions, because obviously any number larger than 2, like 3, is a third, which is lower. So do you need to have a 2 in there? If you didn't have a 2, it would be at least a third, or it would be at most a third plus a fourth plus a fifth, which is, oh, good grief, I've no idea. A third plus a fourth plus a fifth is, what's the lowest common multiple? 60? 3 times 4 times 5? 60. So we're working in 60ths. So a third is 20. So 20 60ths plus 15 60ths for the quarter plus 12 60ths is 47 60ths. 20 plus 15 plus 12, 47 60ths. So that doesn't work. That's not enough. So a third plus a quarter plus a fifth is less than 1. So there is a 2 in there. So there's a half, and then there's 2 digits that are going to have to add up to a half. So I was going to say are they 4 and 8, but no, they're not, are they? Because a quarter plus an eighth is 3/8. That's not equal to a half. So it must be a third. Oh, I see. Yes, it's a third and a sixth, isn't it? Because a third is the same as 2 sixths, and if we add 2 sixths to 1 sixth, we get a half. So we get 3 sixths. Right. So I've done a cage. 2, 3, 6. And there's a 1 in there. So this cage is only 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. But it goes here where it could have 2s, 3s, and 6s in it again. No, that is not a 1. I do know that. You've got to be kidding. So sorry, I know I've stopped talking. I'm just absolutely terrified at the prospect of trying to find the lowest common multiple. So many unattractive looking numbers. What the blazes are you meant to do with this? There must be some problem with primes. Is that the problem? If you use a 7th, if I use a 7th in a sum, then the other digits would have to add up to 6 sevenths. So okay. Wow, this is so weird. Yeah, so there is something primeval. That's what's going on in this. Primeval. Okay, I don't think you can use a 7th in this cage. How? I'm probably not going to express this very well mathematically, but here is how my brain thinks about that. No, I don't want to imagine a pizza, but that's sort of how I am imagining it. A 7th is a very odd fraction. So what I'm saying is if one of these was a 7, it would be worth a 7th, which means the other digits in this cage have to add up to 6 sevenths, which means if you think about the fraction 6 sevenths, it is inherently measuring things in sevenths. Well, that's true. It is. Now, how do you get something to have a seventh as its denominator? It's the only thing you can do is use numbers like a seventh or 2/7 or 3/7 or 4/7 or 5/7. Yeah, that bottom seven number. It can't be reduced further because 7 is prime. So the only way you could do it is by having literally, if you had 7 sevens, all 7 green sevens in this cage, then you could do it. But that would they would add up to 1, and then whatever digit in here that was not a seventh would take you to a different total. So you can't do it. You can't have sevenths in there. You can't, for the same reason you can't have fifths in there. This must be it. But you can't have fifths because it's the same. Although 1/5 feels better because it's decimally 0.2, it's still the same problem. The other digits in the cage now have to add up to 4/5. And therefore, however you do that, whatever multiple you use, you might say, okay, 4/5. I could have 4/5 is less than, or it's more than a half. So you could have two in this cage, and then you could say, okay, what's the lowest common multiple if you've got a 2 in something and you're ending up with 4/5? So you're going to combine those together to get tenths, aren't you? The lowest common multiple would be of 2 and 5 is 10. So the half would be worth 5/10, but we're going for 4/5, which is 8/10. So I now need 3/10 worth of more digits. And the problem is that tenth that I'm trying to get to, in Sudoku terms, the only way you can get to that is using digits that have 2s on the bottom and digits that have 5s on the bottom. You can't do it without using a fifth again. You just can't in Sudoku terms because there is no 10 in this puzzle. We can't do 1/10 or 2/10 or 3/10. It's impossible. So I think what Kaktuslav is doing in the most devious way is saying that actually those are 489 and these are 157. I don't know the total for those, and this is 489. So this is the most absurd fraction now, because this is a quarter plus an eighth plus a ninth, which is, right, well, 4 goes into 8, so the lowest common multiple there is 72, is it? 36 is not divisible by 8, so it is 72. So what's a quarter of 72? 18. Oh, good grief. Right, so it's 18 72ths, and then an eighth of 72 is 9 72ths, and a ninth of 72 is 8 72ths. So it's 17 72ths plus 17 plus 18 72ths, which is 35 72ths. So these digits here add up to 35 72ths, which means that digit, or some other digits as well, has to add up to 37 72ths. Okay, so how do we do that then? No idea. I feel like I need more 9s, though, in this cage, because like a ninth is a horrible I know this isn't mathematical, but the way I think about a ninth is it's a horrible number. You know, how do you turn a ninth into something useful if you're adding it up to get to the number 1? You've got to add other ninths to it, because if you didn't add other ninths to it, how would you get it to be a useful fraction? Like, I feel like this has got to have 2 more 9s in it, because then if I add a ninth plus a ninth plus a ninth, I get a third. And then we can sort of play games. Then I could add 2 more thirds to that. So that sort of is how my brain is thinking about it in its simplistic way. Whereas if I just leave the ninth on its own, I mean, how am I going to make that useful? It's not useful at all. And you can't just add a ninth to a third. You know, you just can't. Because that gets you to like 12/27ths. And that feels like I'm getting further away from where I need to be. Oh, I don't know how to do this. So I need to make 37 72ths. So how can we do that? We could have a 2, couldn't we? I better not put this in big digits in case it clears fog. That would be worth 36. No. So it doesn't. There is no 2 in this cage. We can say that. Because if there was a 2, it would be worth 36 72ths. And then I'd need the extra digit. There'd have to be another digit as well, because I haven't got to 37 72ths, and the other digit would have to be worth 1 72th. Well, that's impossible because I can't write 72 into that cell, for example. So there's no 2 in there. Now there could be a 3, because that would be worth 24 72ths, and I need 24 72ths. And I need 37 72ths, so I need another 13 72ths. I'm just going to have to write all these out, I think. 5 doesn't go into 72, 6 goes into 72, 7 doesn't go into it, 8 does, 9 does. So what are all these worth? A quarter is worth 18, a sixth is worth 12, an eighth is worth 9, and a 9 is worth 8. So some combination of these numbers has to add up to 37. So so we can immediately see most of these are even. So I must have the 8 in there, which is somewhat surprising. How many do I need? What was the overall? 37. So I can't have 3 8s. Because that would then I'd need 10 more, and I can't make 10 from any combination of that. So I've got exactly 1 8. So I've got 1 8, which means I now need 28 78ths from the other, and this is done. There's no more 8s in it. I thought I was going to need 2 9s, didn't I? If I had 2 9s, that's not going to... Oh, it would work if I had a 12. So maybe that is right then. Okay, then I can see one way it would work. 2 more 9s and a 6 would get me to 28. Okay, thirds don't work because the extra digit would have to be a 4. So we can take them out. They don't work. If we have a quarter, we need 2 more digits, or they would have to add to 10. That doesn't work. So there are no quarters in it. We've done that one. Yeah, so it is some combination of sixths and ninths. Yeah, so there is only one way it works. There's got to be one of these, which is worth 12. Oh. And 2 of these, which are worth 16. And then those 3 should add to 37, and they do. This is mad. Absolutely mad. Right, so... this cage has got loads of more digits in it. It has got a 6. It's got a 6 in it. It's got an 8 in it, and it's got 2 9s in it. A 6, an 8, and 2 9s. So this digit is going to be the one that clears the fog, because we've got 6, 8, 9, and 2 9s, but this digit can't be 8 or 9 by Sudoku, and this is a 6. And you've got to be joking. So that has cleared fog, has it? Yeah, it does clear fog, but it doesn't give me the... Oh, I see, but the K... Okay, so this digit now is 8 or 9 only. We've got two more 9s and 1 8 to put in. Right, this can't be 8, for the simple reason that the cage would then complete with 2 9s, and whichever way it went, those 2 9s would see each other, because the cage is orthogonal. So if this was 8 and the cage did those 2 or those 2, wherever it went, it would be 2 9s, wouldn't it? And they would be in the same row, column, and... Well, they'd be in the same row and column. They'd have to be. Row or column, I should say. So that has to be 9. Now this has to be 8, and this has to be 9. This is... it's just absurd. It's absurdly brilliant. I mean, I don't know how you can be this clever. Honestly, it's just... How do you do setting like this? Now, we know all those are green because they're all reciprocals. This is now a purple by yin-yang logic, and a purple has to get out. So we get our first introduction to purple in the puzzle. We've got a new cage here that sums to 3. No. So this one doesn't have to have... It doesn't have to have reciprocals in it. It could... Okay, but that cell is a problem, isn't it? Because... Well, there's no normal 5s or normal 7s in this cage, because the sum total of the cage is 3. So if we had a reciprocal 5 or 7 in this cage, then again, in order to arrive at an integer, you're going to have more... You're going to have loads and loads of reciprocal 5s in it, loads of reciprocal 7s, and you can't get 21 reciprocal 7s or 15 reciprocal 5s in this 5-cell cage. So that is a 1. It's a 1, and we don't know the colour of it, because we said earlier 1s are either... It doesn't matter. It's a purple or a green. It has the same effect. So that... Okay, but that means these digits add up to 2, because that's always worth 1, whatever colour it is. So these digits add up to 2. So do they have to be a 1 and 2, 3, 6? Is that what we're being told here? Because we know 2, 3, and 6 as reciprocals add up to 1. So I think this might be 1, 2, 3, 6. Oh, it's no, it's not that. There's no. There's a I can't put 6 in the cage. Oh, Bobbin's face. Oh, good grief! I don't know then. So these add up to 2. So if they were... Okay, if they don't have a 1 in them, that's impossible, I think. Because if they don't have a 1 in them, it's impossible that they have any natural digits in them at all. Because a natural digit would be at least a 2, worth 2, and then whatever was in the rest of the cage, it would add up to more than 3, because we've got 1 here. So if there was a natural 2 or higher, the cage would break. So everything else would be reciprocal. But the highest value of a reciprocal is a half if it's a 2. And I can't put 4 2s in there. 4 reciprocal 2s. That would add up to the correct total, but it would be impossible from a Sudoku perspective. And no combination of other reciprocals is going to be as high as 4 2s. So there is a second 1 in this cage. Oh, but that's still the problem with my... Oh, I see. No, it's okay. It's okay. So what's happening here? Let's summarize it. So there is a second 1. We've just proved that. There can't be a third 1 because then the extra digits would take us beyond 3. So there is 1 1 somewhere in that L tetromino there. Doesn't matter what color it is. And then there are 3 digits that are all going to be reciprocals that sum up to 1. And you may say, well, that's impossible, Simon, because we worked out here that 236 was the way to do it, which we did. But we here did not have a luxury that we have there. In here, we could have a repeated reciprocal, which we couldn't have here because of Sudoku rules. So here, I mean, one thing I can see that would immediately work would be if you had a quarter plus a quarter plus a half. That would work. So but that requires a repeated 4. So you could go 4, 4, 1, 2. That would definitely be a way of doing it. Now, so the repeated digit, if it wasn't a quarter, what could it be? It has to be a quarter. It just does. Because we know there's got to be a repeat because 236 doesn't work. So we actually know the repeated digit is in those 2 cells. It is therefore green because it's reciprocaled. Oh, so it's going to... We might not even have to do this. I think we can now say with certainty where the 1 is in this cage. It's there. And that didn't clear the fog. I think that is still the 1. And then this digit is sort of the extra digit. So we know that we've got 2 of those digits reciprocaled, plus that's also, by the way, a reciprocal. The 1 we don't know. This is now a purple by avoiding a 2 by 2. If these weren't double 4 with a 2, what else would work there? I mean, it's sort of by inspection, it feels like it's the only thing that could work. Certainly these can't both be a half, because then this would have to be a 0. If these are both a third, we've got 2 thirds here. And this would have to have a value of a third, but that would require 3 3s. That doesn't work. If we use 4, we know it can work. 5s and 7s won't work. So 6 6s it can't be. So it would be 8. Oh, we can't repeat 8, and 9 doesn't work. So it is that. It's 4s and 2s, and please clear fog. It did. Right. Therefore, look, that's a 2 by 2. So that is purple. And that purple has to get out. Wow. Now we've got to avoid a checkerboard there. So that is a green. This is a purple to avoid a 2 by 2. That's a purple to avoid a 2 by 2. Oh, at least we're going, aren't we? Oh, we've got another. Well, that cage must have a 1 in it. Please, it must have a 1 in it. How can that possibly not? This is 3 digits. that sum to 2. So they can't include a natural digit that's higher than a 1. Because then if it had a natural 2, the other 2 digits would have to be a 0. So the highest value one of those cells can have is 1. Now, if it didn't have a value of 1, we'd be using reciprocals, the highest value of which could be a half. And even with 3 halves in there, you wouldn't get to 2. So the way this works is you've got a 1 in here, and then you've got to have 2 digits that are reciprocals that sum to 1. So they both have to be halves. So we actually know what this one is. That's got to be 2's. This has got to be a 1. And it's getting a little bit easier, isn't it? So now those 2 are reciprocals. That one is purple by yin yang, but it wouldn't have mattered. That's what told us its colour was yin yang. It was nothing to do with its value, because whether it was green or purple, it would have had the same value. This has to get out. That purple has got to get out. This cage here, we don't know what this sum is. Ah. Okay, now we've got a product. Oh, good grief. Right. So I've got to multiply four values together to get 1. So that's so difficult. How on earth do you do this then? So, well, you can't just use reciprocal, or you really can't just use reciprocals, because then these would both be green. Yeah, the thing is, if you multiply a reciprocal by a reciprocal, you get a smaller value, don't you? You can't get towards 1 because, for example, if you multiply a half by a third, you get a 6th. So you're getting further away from 1. So the way this is going to have to work is there's going to have to be a mixture of purples and greens. For example, this might not work, but let me just explain. It doesn't work, but I'm just going to talk about an example I can see in my head that might work. Forgetting Sudoku. If you had 2, 4, 8, and 1 in that cage, I know it doesn't work, but let's imagine you did. Then you could have 2 times 4, natural, that's 8. Times 1, okay, that doesn't do anything. And then if the 8 was inverted, you'd have an 8th times 8, which would give you 1. Or you could have the 8 as the natural, and then the half and a half times a quarter, which would give you an 8th. So, okay, so question 1, I think, is going to be, is there a 1 in that cage? Because if there wasn't a 1, well, then it might be fine, actually. I just have to find... If there isn't... I've got to find 2 digits. I think it's possible. I just have to think of the right... Like, I'm thinking 3, 8, 4, 6. I mean, that doesn't work because there's an 8 here. But let me explain why I was thinking that. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. So if 4 and 6 were inverted, you'd have a 24th, and 3 times 8 would be 24. Multiply them all together and you get a good number, don't you? So... Oh, this is a horrendous cage. This is a horrendous cage. Oh, is it Sudoku? Hang on. I'm just going to abandon that. I think that's got so many options. I'm going to think about other things. But 3, 5, 7 in this column. 3, 5, 7. 4 is in one of those cells. 4 is in one of these cells. Oh, no. Or is it yin-yang? I don't want to think about this cage. That cage is one of the most horrendous creatures in Sudoku Christendom, frankly. I just don't see how I mean, I'd have to do so much due diligence to be confident that there was only, one or two ways of making it work. Like if it... Yeah, so for example, I think I've thought of another way it could work. 3, 4, 2, 6. That would work, wouldn't it? 3 and 4 is 12, 2 and 6 is 12. Just invert one pair, and that would work. Okay, all right, so I'm going to think about yin-yang. One of those is indisputably purple, so can we do something with the perimeter here? If it's not very obvious to me, at least. If that was green, then you would have most of the perimeter as purple. Because one of these has to be purple. So what I'm seeing there is if that's green, because one of these is purple, and this purple would have to connect to these purples, this purple would have to take that cell, and that gets me my change of colour in the perimeter. I've got a purple there, a green, and then another purple. So that's going to turn the whole perimeter purple, which, no, that would be green, and that would be green, and that would be purple, and that would have to be... Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, that doesn't work. Let me just show you that. If this was green, we've got purple going around the edge to connect up with the purple here. Now look what happens here. This is now green. This is green to avoid 2x2s. And now this cell, well, these two cells are unfillable because this has to be purple. And then this cell, whatever it is bad. It's green to avoid this being a 2x2, but if it's green, that's a checkerboard, so you can't do that. So I think we do. There is going to be a... I mean, it means that... hang on, what did we say? We said if that was green, there's a problem. So that is purple. So that is purple. And there is a generic problem here with there being some sort of purplage around the outside. Okay, so if that was green, I've got the same problem. That's quite interesting. So what I'm saying there is if that's green, because this is now purple on the perimeter, and this purple has to get out, or both of these purples have to get out, you touch the purple there, you'd get exactly the same problem. You'd have to go round the corner with purple. So that cell is also purple. But that's not in this cage, so we can't really use it. So it's not possible for both of those to be green. That's a truth. What would happen if... Okay, what happens if that is green? I think that is a problem. Because if this is green, Firstly, this purple hits the edge, so now we know these have to connect. But secondly, because this is purple, to avoid a 2x2, one of these is green. I don't know which one it would be. It doesn't really matter. The point is that to connect the purples on the edge, you're again doing this flight around here and causing that big problem that arose up there. So that digit is also purple. So now I've got 2 purples in there. Can it all be purple? If it's all... No, it can't all... No, 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 no. No. No, Simon. It cannot all be purple. In fact, very little of this can be purple. No, Oh, bobbins. No, I was about to say something that's not true. I was going to try it. In fact, okay, here is a weird point that must be relevant. I have actually, this is absolutely brilliant setting. This is so clever. Right, this is the key. And I don't yet know how it's the key, but I can see it's the key for this reason. Is it possible that these 2 cells, which are the remaining cells in this nonsense down here, what if both of them were green? If both of them are green, I've got the problem again. This purple has to get out, it's going to take that one, and I've got to connect round the edge, which we've shown is impossible. So these are both not green. Well, they can't both be purple, because then we're multiplying 4 natural numbers claiming we're going to get 1. Well, we're not. So exactly one of these is green, and exactly one of them is purple, which means this box contains 3 purples. Now, how could one of those not be a 1? If one of them was not a 1, it would be 2, 3, 4 minimum. 2 times 3 times 4 is a lot. It's 24. And I can't put 24 into the other cell as green and say it's a 24th. It won't work. Oh, okay. Sorry, I've got a bee sting situation. Okay, let me just send a message. Hang on a sec. Okay, I just better keep an eye on that. Sorry. Right, so let me think. Bee stings are funny things because it's just taken me back a bit, but I remember when I'd not been long working out of university, I was at Price Waterhouse doing my accountancy exams, and there was a senior manager there who was called Bruce. You know, he was a larger-life character, a really fun guy. And he went on holiday and got stung by a bee, and he had the anaphylactic shock and died. And it was just awful. You know, a guy who had everything to live for, and you know, just nothing wrong with him at all, stopped by a bee. So I'm always a bit wary of bees. Although I do like honey. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. But I was excited about this. Now, so there is a 1 in this cage now, which is in one of 3 positions, because 2 times 3 times 4 in the purples is too much purplage. So, yeah, I'll tell you about something else. There's a 2 in the cage as well, because imagine there wasn't. Then the minimum purplage would be 1, 3, 4, multiply them together, 12, and we can't put a 12th into the other green cell. So there is a 2 in here, and that is in one of those cells. So, so what we're pairing up the 2 or the 2 with, the purple 2, It's either going with 3 or 4, isn't it? It'd be good if it was 4, because I could put that in. Oh, no, it doesn't go with 4. It goes with 3. The reason it doesn't go with 4, which I could put in the cage as a purple here, is that would mean that the purples would be 1, 2, and 4, which is 8, and then I'd have to put a green 8 in the cage, which I can't do. So it must be 1, 2, 3, and 6. So what's happening here is we've got there's nothing wrong with that logic, is there? I don't think that there is. No, I think I'm sorry, I've got a bit distracted with the whole B situation, but I think it's okay. So there's a purple 1, a purple 2, a purple 3, a green 6. Oh, so that's not green 6, is it? That's not green 6. So green 6 is there or there. And these this is going to be a 3. These digits are 1, 2, and 3, and that's forced to be a 3 by. So look at this. Isn't that incredible? So now we can take the 3 out of here. We can take the 4 out of here because it doesn't. So these are 1, 2, and 6 in some order. I think I'll get rid of the corner pencil marks. I don't know how we're going to determine which of these is the green 6. Maybe this can't be green 6. If that's green 6, that couldn't also be green. Maverick's flying over. So if this was green, that would be purple. And we've got to avoid that purple thing going over the top. I'm not sure. That's not 3 anymore. And we've got a new cage as well, so maybe that's what we're meant to look at. I'm not sure how to do that, so I'm going to just take a quick look at this, which is another product cage multiplying to 1. Now, so does this have to have 1 in it? Is that what we're being told here? If it doesn't have a 1 in it, how does it work? It wouldn't have a 2 in it by Sudoku, so it would be. Yeah, so this is beautiful again. This has a 1 in it, because if it didn't, the minimum digits it could have would be 3s, 4s, etc. And the way it's going to work is that 2 of those digits are going to have to multiply to the other digit, because we're going to have to make some sort of reciprocal equal to some sort of real value. So we could have 3 times 4, and then if we could put 12 in, they would balance. So we have 1 over 12 times 3 times 4 would give us 1. But that's impossible, isn't it? Because 3 times 4 is too big to create a Sudoku digit on the other side. So what instead is happening here is there is a 1 in one of these, and then the other 2 digits are going to be the same value. It's going to give us a 1 here. And that will work fine. And we can pick any value we like other than things that are stopped by Sudoku. So let's say 5. If both of those were 5, one of them can then be coloured such that it's a 5th. The other is coloured so it's a 5. They multiply together. Bob's your uncle. And it's going to work. So we've got a 1 here. I didn't clear the words. Maybe it gives me a 1 here. Yeah, this is this not working? It's giving me all these digits. It's giving me all the digits down here, some of which we'll be able to colour. Those 2 are the same. I was going to colour them, but I realised I shouldn't. So they're equal to those. Whatever that A is, it's one of those digits. And these digits are from 4, 5, 7. So this A digit, which has to by Sudoku go into one of those, it's not 9, because A can't be 9. So it's 3, 4, 5, or 7. 3, 4, 5, 7. And what's more, I think we can now colour this one. So the one, yeah, the one was purple because we couldn't have two greens. We worked that out. So we knew that this was breaking down into 3 purples, 1 green. So, and then we know that the 2 and the 3 have to be different coloured to the green. So that's to the 6, I should say. And we can see that I mean, in theory, you might say, oh, that can be green, Simon, but no, it can't. Remember why? If this was green, it was during the bee kerfuffle, but if this was green, we've got the purples going around the edge problem. So that's got to be purple. This green has to get in touch to its friends, so it's going straight up there. Look, the purple that I've created here now has to get out, so it's coming along the bottom. And now... well, now if this was purple, wouldn't I get the purple problem in box 3 again? Because I've got purple on the perimeter here, which I'd have to connect up. So all of those would be purple. Yeah, and that's the same problem. These would be double green, that would be purple, and that would be unfillable, so it doesn't work. So that's green. Now, is this then... this purple has to get out. So what about that? If that's now purple... all of those would be purple. Though both of those would be green. And that's different, isn't it? That is different. So okay, so that's weird. So this one being purple was a problem, but this one being purple might not be a problem. It still might be a problem, but I don't think it's a yin-yang problem. And down here, do I know I know these are different colours. That can be anything, obviously, because... or maybe it can't be green, because if it was green, green would go all around the edge. Maybe that doesn't work. Don't know. Oh dear, I think I've got stuck. Sudoku. 9 is in one of those 2 cells. 1. What is in one of those 3 cells? 2. 2 is not there. 4. Oh no, come on, no, it's not working, is it? Oh, hang on, I've just noticed that those are in this cage. Right, hang on, we've got a weird thing going on in this one then. Oh goodness, this is weird. Look, you've got to all those multiply together to give 1, and those are real 5s and real 7s. Well, I mean, it's possible, but what you're going to have to do, these cells are going to have to include a 5 and a 7. And those are going to have to be green to cancel out the effect of the naughty big 5 and the naughty big 7. So there are 5 and they're green. Oh, hang on. There must be green 5 and green 7 in there. They can't both be there because that will create a 2 by 2. So at least one of them is here looking at this cell. If they were both there, they'd both be green. That would be purple. So, and we've got another digit here that's not exactly a small digit. What is that? That is, well, it could be a 3. That's the smallest it can be. 3, 6, 8, 9. And that has to be offset, doesn't it? What I mean by that is, yeah, right. I can do some colouring, I think, is the point. So what I'm now seeing is I have got 3 materially awkward big digits in this cage. There must be green 5 and green 7. And then the other digit, or digits, have to cater for this one, and maybe another purple, possibly another purple. But catering for this one is also going to require at least one more green. So these 4 digits here indisputably involve 3 greens at least, yet both of those cannot be green. So both of these are green, which means this is purple by yin-yang, which means this is green because I worked out there had to be 3 greens in there. And now that can't possibly be 1, because I have to deal with this number. In fact, I've got it. Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. Right. There has to be, in these digits, there's green 5 and green 7 to cater for these. But look at this one. It's being added or multiplied with this one. They're both real, big numbers. And this one can't be less than 3 because it sees 1 and 2. And so we're multiplying those together to get a number, a single-digit number that I can invert in the extra green. So it has to be double 3, and one of these is a 9. That's the only way it can work. Yeah, there we go, double 3. And these digits are 5, 7 to cater for these, and 9 to cater for the double 3. And I can't do that. Now this bit, right, these being 3 means A is not 3. So right, so A is that one exactly now. That is A. We've got a new cage here, which is obviously going to be right. What are those digits then? 6, 8, 9. So we've got a 6, 8, or a 9 in this one, and then we've got I want to say 1, 5, 7. One of these is a 1 by Sudoku. One of those is a naughty. So, yeah. So whichever one of these, one of them is a 1. So one of them is fine and we can't do anything with it. But one of them is one of these difficult digits we looked at over here. And whether it's a reciprocal 5 or 7 or a normal 5 or 7, its friend, its reciprocal, the opposite of it has to be in the cage in order to cancel its effect such that we're producting up to a 1. So one of those, so say this was a 1, this would be the naughty, and that would have to, by Sudoku, because we have to repeat this digit then in the cage, it would have to go there. So one of these is a 5 or a 7. And it's the one that sits under the 1. And so one of them is a 1, that's doing nothing. And this one has to be K. So does that one have to be there? Is that the point? I think it is. Yeah, because the 5 or 7, you have to really try hard to cater for them. They're very, very difficult in these cages that multiply to 1. So what I'm now saying is that in this cage, there is a 1 in one of these. There is a 5 or a 7 and its complement down here. So 3 of the cells in that foursome are 1, 5, and 7. No, it's hard to explain. But let's say this was a 1, 5 pair. Then there's a 5 down here. So 3 of the digits in here are 1, 5, 5 or 1, 7, 7. Which means that the only way that this one, I don't know whether it's purple or green, but it has to have a complement that's the reciprocal of it in the cage as well. And by Sudoku, that's got to go there. So this is not a 9. So this is 6 or 8. It's the opposite colour. These are the opposite colour, but they are the same digit. And therefore, oh, I see. Right, and now because that one had to be duplicated, we now know that this one can't be, if that was the 5 or the 7, it couldn't be duplicated in the cage. So that one is the 5 or this is just, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. This is the duplifying one. That is the one. I wondered if that was going to happen. Now, we don't know the colour of this. We do know now that they can be called C. In fact, A, B, and C are all different, look, because they've all ended up in box 7, so that is legitimate. And we know that these C's are different colours and these B's are different colours. And we've got a new cage here that is a summation cage. Which, well, it doesn't have a 1 in it. So isn't it the same as that one? I don't know. I feel like okay, I'm going to do yin yang. Oh, actually, I really am. I was going to do this because I didn't want to think about this, but actually, this is a useful yin yang because that purple has to get out and touch its friends, which makes this purple. But of course, that's now a different colour to that, which is now green, and that's beautiful. That is beautiful for the perimeter look, because look, that is a green on the perimeter, which has to touch to its friends on the perimeter. And there's already purple here, so we can't connect them around the bottom. So we've got a huge swathe of green across the top. Purple, purple to avoid 2x2s. This purple has to get out. Oh goodness, look at this. It's basically doing half the colouring of the puzzle. The purple at the top still hasn't got out. The purple at the top still hasn't got out. Oh goodness, I was worried then about I remember those had to be different colours, but it's turned out they are now, so that's all good. That's very good news. Now, right. I see. I know what we do now. We look at this cage, which we can see is going into this cell and this cell, and it's a summation cage summing to 1. So we ask this question. Is anything in this cage able to be non-green? Clearly not. If it's non-green, it's at least a 1. And there's more than one cell in this cage. So everything in that cage, I don't know how many cells it's got, but all of those at least have to be green now and be reciprocal. That makes this purple on the perimeter to avoid a 2x2. That purple along the perimeter has to, because there's only 2 stretches of colour. This is now green to avoid a 2x2, and we've got one cell that is, no, we haven't. Double click. I've got the purples have to connect. That is purple, and we've coloured the grid. We've coloured the grid. Right, and now what we do is we look at this cage and we say, I know how many cells it's got in it now, because before I thought it was going to be this cage, but I didn't know it was. But now I know it is, because if it spills out any further than those 3 cells, it hits a purple, where the value it will take, well, actually, it can't even be a 1. The value it will pick up is a huge old value, but it's a summing cage, so it'll break. So what we're looking for is a situation where those 3 reciprocals sum to 1. And we looked at that right at the start. They have to be 2, 3, 6, don't they? And that's place 9 by Sudoku in this. Oh, I don't know if that cleared fog, but it should have done. It means this is not 6. 2, 3, 6 means this is 8. So that is 8. They have to be the same. 8 is at the top there. Bobbins 2 here means this is that's a 3 in the corner. Oh, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Okay, that's very good. Very good. So 3 is up here. There's a new cage that we've been introduced to, which is multiplying to 5. which is a very strange number indeed. It probably has to have a 5 in it then. It must have a 5 in it. How could it not do? How could it not do? I think that is a legitimate question. I think it must have a 5 in it. Because 5's prime. We could have the other digits multiplying together to give 1 and then times that by the 5. There's not actually any other way of doing it, is there? How else could you do it? I feel like I'm going crazy. But that to me feels like it must be what happens. So we know that must be a 5 in the right. There must be a 5 in the purples. So this is not a 5. I don't really want to pencil mark it across that box if I can possibly help it. Now I'm stuck again. Even though we've done all the colouring. So, what do you think we do now? I don't know. No, that doesn't work. Sudoku? Maybe? Nearly. Where's 8 in box 8? It's got 2 positions. This digit is 4, 5 or 7 by Sudoku because it's sort of a 4, 5, 7 triple in box 7. So in that column there's a 4, 5, 7, 9 quadruple. So those 2 digits at the top are 8 and 6. And they're right, hang on. Right, so do you remember we said the purples in this 5 cage have to include a 5? Well, that's now in one of 2 places. So this is down to 7 or 9. And we've got 2 digits here that are 6 or 8, but they're different. So yeah, okay. So do you remember when we looked at this cage here? We said, I think correctly, that this cage contains a 5 which is multiplied by 4 digits whose product is 1. Now that's weird, isn't it? So maybe the point is you can't put 1 in the cage. Yeah, you can't put 1 in this cage. Because if you do, this is 5, and then what you're saying is that this digit is the product of those is the same as this, which is impossible because this is going to be at least a 2. And 12 we can't offset here. So there's no 1 in this cage. That's probably what we had to figure out. How many 1s have we got in the puzzle? Lots. Okay, so this cage now, one of these is a 5. And we've got a situation where whatever I multiply this by, it's hard to explain, but the product of those 2 is the same as the product of this one and whatever is in here that is not 5. And that will then equate those parts of the equation together. Now, so 6. So we've got 6. So effectively, what we've got in terms of an equation is 6x equals 8y. So that's 48. No, 24. 24 would work here. 24 is a multiple of 6 and a multiple of 8. So 3 and 4 would work. Yeah, okay. So it's either 3 and 4 or it's 48, isn't it? Which would mean, but that would mean that we're multiplying these numbers by a 6-8 pair, and this can't be 6 or 8. So if it could have been, we could have done 6 times 8 in green and then have a 6 or an 8 here, and the purples would have multiplied to 6 to 48 as well, and they would have offset. But because this can't be 6 or 8, it won't work. Now, so if we're going up to 72, 72 won't work because the 6 would have to times by 12. So it is 3, it's 3 and 4. Well, we can see the 3 has to be there, can't we? So that's got to be 3, which is going to multiply by 8, and the 6 is going to multiply by a 4 in here. So this is a 4-5 pair, and now we've got 24 and 24, and they both offset beautifully. And somehow that has done... No, it's okay. 8 in this box is now restricted, which means this is a 4. And 8 at the bottom is now placed. So that's 8, that's 9, that's 7. So this is now, I hope this is clearing the fog, otherwise, no, it is. There we go. 5-9 pair here. So this becomes 4-7. Now this is a C digit, so that's the same as that, and that is now a 5. So we go 5, 5, 9, 5. So this is a 6 by Sudoku. 6, 2. One of those is a 2. That one is not a 3 anymore. These digits are 4 and 7. Okay, that I don't know how to do that, but that's quite good in this row, isn't it? This is now a 5-8 pair. So this isn't 8 or 6, so that's 9. In this box, we've not put 3 and 7 in, so we can do it. 3, 7. Now, this is a 4 or a 7 now, so that is not a 5. And that's the same as this digit, isn't it? So that is 4 or 7. There's a 4-7 pair, I see, so that's now 5. This is 7, that's 4, that's 4, 4, 7. This digit is a something, the technical term for a 5. These digits are 3, 6, 7. I can do that. 7, 6, 3. Is that one done? 2. No, this should be something gone wrong in this column, has it? Oh no, we're still alive. We're still alive. 7, 5, 5, 4, 3, 6, 9 at the top. Okay, 2, 6, 8 bobbins. 2, 6, 8. That's not 8. That's not 6. Bobbins. Yeah, that is bobbins worthy. Okay. What do we need in this column? We've got a 3 here, look, so that must be a 5. We've got a 4 in the corner up there, just Sudoku playing its role. 7, 2 go into the grid. This is a 1-9 pair. Don't know if we can do the order, can't see how, so let's pop that in. This is no longer a 2. So something right. What about the top row then? 2, 6, 7. That's a naked single. So 6, 2, 8, 6, 7 in the corner. We need 1, 2, 8, 9. So this is an 8-9 pair, which we can resolve. 9, 1, 1, 2, 8, 5, finished. What a puzzle. That's genius setting. Again, from an absolute master. That is ridiculously clever. Ridiculous. I mean, how you have that idea. What I love is the execution, as usual with Kaktuslav. It's like the choices he makes are perfect. They sort of, okay, this is what happens with this puzzle, is it teaches you how to do it. Because you start off, well, I did start off, I read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and I was like, this sounds horrendous. But even just thinking about how this cage worked taught me a bit about how this cage worked. And there was that mad yin-yang thing down there, along with the bee incident. Anyway, I better go and sort that out now, but thank you very much for watching, if you still are. Do remember to like. Please do subscribe. We are so very close to 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, which would be an incredible thing for this channel. Incredible. So if you're not subscribed, please consider it. And please give all the love to Kaktuslav. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.